Introducing health and wellness advocate, veteran international real estate investment expert, author and speaker, Adiel Gorel.
Health tips, fitness tips, nutrition and well-being, world-class experts, all right here on my podcast, The Adiel Gorel Show.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Adiel Gorel Show. We are continuing our conversation and interview that we started last week that Adiel had with Jonathan and Andi Goldman and their book, The Humming Effect. So if you remember, we were talking last week about the power and importance of humming, the health benefits of humming. And so, Adiel, as we go into the second part of the interview here, you've had some time to sit, think about the interview or think about the conversation. What curiosity do you have going into the next part of this interview here? What's standing out for you?
I have a lot of curiosity. I really loved what they said again about humming with intention. And I know that they're probably going to go deeper into this. And I think they're going to touch upon the, energy system, the chakras. I hope they do. I think they will. And I think this is still quite interesting. The intention, that's the thing. I looked at humming as a little random thing that we do here and there, which I still feel is something that is much better to do than not to do. By the way, let's talk about being in the car. You spend some time in the car. Yes, we drive a little bit less because of COVID, but you're in the car. Well, come on, let it rip. Do it for 1 minute, for 2, for 3. We are in the car. Nobody's hearing you. So, those are good things. I tried humming a little bit. I have a feeling that I really would like to get back into it. So, these interviews, I read, the books. I was inspired by the books. That's why we wanna do this interview.
Yeah.
But my enthusiasm, just like we all have this thing, could wane. And then all of a sudden, even though it's a great idea, I'm not doing it. So I'm very thankful to these interviews because it rekindles the passion to do it.
Yeah.
Let's face it, Chad, that's a problem that needs to be solved. Let's say you, and you're very interested in health and hacking your bio. Let's say you learn an amazing thing to do, and let's call it A. You learned about, you're very excited about it, and now you want to do A. Then you also learned that there's an amazing thing you can do called B. And then we did an interview with an amazing expert who totally showed us how we could be doing C. Well, by the time you get to V or W, well, there are many things to do. They're all very beneficial, but how many am I going to do? So that's the thing that you need to distill and save time, be time efficient, and not just say that's an amazing thing to do for my health, for my body, because at some point there are going to be 100 things, and are you going to do them daily?
Yeah. Well, and that's where any of the information in any of the interviews that we're doing, what we take from it has to be established as a practice. In other words, so much of this can overwhelm us if we were to look at it all as a spectrum of everything from A to Z that we could do. But, and even just like with humming right now, look, it's all valuable, but it's all useless to you unless you start to put it into practice and implement it. And so the best thing that I've found that helps me with that is just take 1 or 2 of those, just take A or B and start with that for a couple weeks and practice it and, do it. And then it becomes automatic. I'm not thinking about it anymore. Then I can add C and D. Then I can add E and F. By the end of a year, kind of like we were talking, about learning languages. You can't learn a language all at once. You've got to take it in little bits and pieces, and you've got to practice it. You've got to speak the language. You've got to do it. And so it's in the doing, right? So, and the beautiful thing about these interviews is they're timeless. They're there. So maybe you don't want to take on humming right now. Maybe, you want to take something else on. You can always come back and learn it, and watch the interview again and implement it. So, Adiel Gorel's adielgorel.com, the website, is a resource, a library for you to decide where are you in your life, what do you want to take on. Maybe you have a particular health thing you're trying to deal with right now, so you're going to take one activity and not another. That's the benefit of having access to all of this. So I agree. It can seem overwhelming, but if we take it in little bite size, like they say, you eat an elephant, one bite at a time kind of thing.
So, I really like what you said, but I'm going to come back at you from another direction.
Okay.
It was just a thought. I wonder if it makes any sense at all, but you could do something else. You could say, okay, there are going to be 15 minutes that I'm going to dedicate to the eclectic practice of all the new stuff that I heard about. Let me do humming for 2 minutes, and let me do the tuning forks that we're going to talk about later. And let me do a reflexology on myself because I learned these points that I can do. Let me do oil pulling for a few minutes. 15 minutes of crazy stuff. And like you go, to kindergarten and you play in the sandbox. I mean, I wonder if that's also an approach.
Yeah, it could be. Whatever works, I guess. But I think, you have to know yourself. You have to know what it is that you need to do to be able to, as they say in gymnastics, stick the landing. So if you're going to start humming, right, you don't want to just dabble in it. Take it on, integrate it into your life, integrate it into a practice that you do. Maybe you say, oh, I'm just going to hum while I wash the dishes. And so every night you're washing the dishes after dinner. And I know we have dishwashers, but some things don't fit in them. So you still got to wash the odd thing. So when you're washing those big pots that don't fit in the dishwasher, maybe you decide I'm going to hum. Maybe you're humming while you're working out, you're lifting weights, you're humming, whatever it is, right? There's no right or wrong in terms of when you do it. It's just whatever you do, make sure you can stick with it and you can be consistent and you can develop a practice around it. So anyway, that's the point on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. But one of the reasons I felt good when I was humming before is obviously they talk about endorphins. Yeah, it's clear to see you feel better. So you generate endorphin. I also liked what they said. They said a beautiful sentence. Silence is the yin to the yang of the sound. So the balance between silence, sound, yin and yang. Nice. They did talk about colors. And once again, they did say blue and green, sedate. Red and orange, stimulate. But one thing that I really liked is they said you can move it around the chakras. So you can move it around the chakras. There are certain colors traditionally associated with the chakras. So, I mean, if we talk about the chakras, there is the crown chakra is usually supposed to be purple violet. The third eye is usually, I'm forgetting. Is it blue? What is it, Chad? Third eye?
I think it is blue.
I think it's blue.
I'm going to look it up right now.
The throat, I'm not sure it's green because I think the heart is green. Forgetting the color. But anyway, I know that the base chakra at our root is red.
Is red.
And then the next one.
Yeah, so it's purple. It's actually kind of like a red purple and then a blue purple and then a blue, green, yellow, orange, and red.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean the root is red. The second one, is orange. The power chakra is a certain type of do you see
Then it goes yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah.
The heart is green. The throat
Correct.
is blue. This one is a bluish violet. Okay. So they go through the chakras. And again, those of you listening to it, they say, I want a body hack, leave me alone with the chakras. But what the heck? There's a lot of information. And when we talk about nitric oxide in the future, in one of the books I read about nitric oxide, and we'll interview the guy who wrote the book, he makes 2 columns comparing nitric oxide to chi. And so there are many, let's assume for a sec. So you can hum and you can do all the colors, go the chakras one by one. You can do it quickly. You can do it quickly.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to do it
Yeah.
right now. I just went through the whole thing, fast. Again, and
Yeah.
I got to tell you, once again, it feels good, Chad. It feels good.
Yeah. No, yeah, it does. Well, there's this, you probably heard of this, the research that Dr. Emoto did years ago on water particles and sound. Have you heard about that?
No, but I was going to talk to you soon, and I will now, about a homeopathy. And, but
Yeah.
yeah, please say.
So Dr. Emoto did this study where he was trying to understand the role that vibration has on nature. And so he actually did this study on water particles. And so he would actually speak over the water particle. He would say words like love, peace, happiness, or whatever. And then he would also say negative things like hate, fear, different words, different vibrations. And what he noticed was, and this is all, searchable on the internet for those who want to go look at it, but it's fascinating. What he noticed is when he would speak with the vibration of the words that were positive and affirming, the water particles took on a variety of sacred geometry shapes that were just beautiful to look at. And when he said the words hate or fear or anything like that, there was no geometric shape whatsoever. It just looked like a mashup or a blob. The water particle took on no sacred geometry shape. And then he would even do he would play classical music, and then he would play heavy metal, hard rock music. And same thing. The more beautiful and melodic the music, the sacred geometry shows up. The more aggressive and loud, no sacred geometry. It's a fascinating study with water particles.
So first, now I recall it was out there, but thanks that you really brought it into focus, and this is absolutely fascinating. And then it brings me again to think about homeopathy. So homeopathy, I mean, people say, how could it make any sense? Supposedly the strongest effect is when it's so diluted that there are no more any particle left. How could it be? It's stupid. It makes no sense. Many scientists would say that, except now you talk about the effect on water, the effect on the particle being there. And as you dilute it, it leaves its mark on the water. And people will say, what are you talking about? Water is water, H2O. But it's exactly what you're talking about. So, I mean, I think that's an interesting thing to explore. And maybe we will go into and bring a homeopathy healer here and try to learn more about that. But you reminded me also of a book that I read when I was much younger. It was a very popular book at the time called The Secret Life of Plants.
I've heard of it.
Fascinating book. And basically, again, people did experiment. People had experiments where they would simply talk to the plant, talk and tell stories and be loving. And then there was another plant in another part of the house, in another room far away. They didn't. Difference in the growth, difference in the health, difference in the, the color. Once again, The Secret Life of Plants, sound gets absorbed. And apparently it wasn't only the sound. It was even finer vibration than sound. It was even the loving feelings, like you said. You thought. So they say homemade food is better because of the love of the cook.
That goes into it. Yeah.
Mother cooks for you. She loves you. Grandmother, whatever, father, whatever. Those are all vibrational healing modalities, except sound, at least we can hear. The love when I cook, you can't hear. It's more subtle.
Yeah. But again, that goes to what we were talking about last week about how everything, all matter, everything is waves and particles vibrating. That's it. So whether it's the sound or whether it's just how you show up, you're still vibrating at that resonance, at that level.
Well, I read in the book about sending the sounds of the hum into the chakras, and you can visualize the colors. And it was very gratifying to hear it from them in person when they talked
Yeah.
about it with some more details about working with the chakras, working with our body. That was quite exciting. And I mean, of course, they talked about the fact that the original sound, people say, the original sound of creation
Mhm.
was actually Om, the hum.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
original sound of creation. That's mind blowing. I liked
Yeah.
it when they talked about mudras, where you block your ear while you hum, makes it more intense, eh, mm, much more intense. Mudra.
Yeah.
So you can again send it over. This is good stuff. And of course, they talked a
That
lot
was an
about.
advanced. That was an advanced position, wasn't it?
Oh, right. There were
With the
two things. Yeah, there was one, right. The
yeah.
ears, and then there was one with the third eye. So you
Right, with the
yeah,
third eye.
you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You close your eyes, that's one. And this is the second one with the third eye.
Yeah.
Mm, absolutely powerful. Try it.
Yeah. Because what's happening? I mean, I have headphones on, but what's
Put them on.
happening is it's like the vibration goes along the bones of your fingers,
Exactly.
and it
Don't.
creates a vibrational circuit. That's I invented that right now. I don't know what it means,
You
but
know
it's
what?
that.
What you're saying makes sense because the sound goes into, yeah, this is good stuff. And certainly
Yeah.
I can say when I go like this, mm, it's much more, intense, much more powerful.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's quite interesting. And they talked about the monks that they went and saw. He talked about how he was trying to achieve this primordial sound. You hear those
Yeah.
with almost like
He
an
did.
amazing bass. You have a better chance of doing it than me because you have a low voice. But I mean, he said that he finally got it. He finally could go into this unbelievably bass. I can't do it, but
Yeah. It was like this growl.
uh,
Like the Buddhist monks, the way they growl almost, or something.
it's it's hypnotic when you hear that.
It
The
is
stuff is
hypnotic. Yeah.
hypnotic, and so to be able to
Reminds
do
me of a
that,
didgeridoo. Reminds me of a
right?
didgeridoo,
Absolutely.
right?
Once again, I'm going to talk about a church. So I was in
Yeah.
San Francisco years ago, and it was New Year's Eve. And I was invited to a ceremony for New Year's Eve at the Grace Cathedral. I think that's where it was. Anyway, a big, big church in San Francisco, uh, right above Union Square. And I went there, and they had unbelievable stuff. They made a circle with the stations and spirituals, but the most amazing stuff was exactly what you just said. They brought the, how do you pronounce it again?
Didgeridoo.
They brought out the didgeridoos, and again, in the cathedral, it was just mind blowing. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't care who you are, but that was spiritual stuff. It was, yeah, the
I
didgeridoo.
mean, I actually meditate to, I have, you can find it on Spotify. So for those who are interested, they have great meditation tracks using didgeridoos and singing bowls on Spotify. So if you don't have one, you're not limited. Just find it on Spotify, or maybe Apple Music has it. And then just put it on a speaker if you're a meditator. And even if you're not, a serious meditator, try it out. Find one of these didgeridoo tracks or the singing bowls, something with vibration. Maybe they even, I know they have even Buddhist monks humming. You can find that, and just lay on the sofa or sit in a chair or something, and just put it on. Close your eyes and just be with that for 10 or 15 minutes. See how you feel at the end of it. It's remarkable. Like you said, it's spiritual experience to hear it like that.
Now, again, harking back to the busy people who say, come on, Chad, I'm not going to lay on the sofa. I'm too big. So, I wonder if you still put it in the background while you do stuff, it's probably still going to be maybe not the same. But
I
it's
do
gonna
that.
be, yeah.
I do that. Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes I'll just have it even very subtle in the background while I'm going about, my day. If I'm writing or working on something, it'll be in the background. So sound is super powerful. That's what we're learning here.
You know, in the book that I already read, and that's an interview that we're going to have in the future following this, actually, with John Beaulieu about tuning forks, he talks about tuning our nervous system in the book. He said that when he went into an anechoic chamber, which you can find in certain universities and places, basically a chamber of sensory deprivation for sound. You can't hear anything. Turns out you can. He was hearing the sound of the nervous system running. And then he saw, that's from the book. We'll talk about it with him. He saw when he was upset one day, he had a fight with somebody, the sound became different. And so that's what got it. So, you know, of course, he talks about human tuning our nervous system. And in fact, I believe in the book, he says that he uses tuning forks. But look at what you're saying now. Didgeridoo from Spotify, or the sound of a singing bowl, or these monks. Right now, I have a strong urge to hear that guttural, super low. I'm dying to it. In fact, I think when we are off the line here, I'm going to go in here. So, you know, those things tune us. We are an instrument, you know, and the instruments can be tuned.
I love the story that that they told in the interview about, you know, they were at Woodstock, and they had Swami Yogi Satchidananda, who led the mantra chanting to open Woodstock. Now think of this: Woodstock is a rock concert, I mean, and a folk concert for all intents and purposes, but they wanted to set the tone. Now it's even occurring to me, Adiel, even in our language, right? What is the tone of your speech? What is the tone? You know, we know that these things almost like intuitively have an effect. And so here, Swami Yoga Satchidananda, you know, he does the opening mantra chanting to kick off Woodstock. And then I love the fact that he runs this, or used to run this place called Yogaville, which feels like a Disneyland for meditators or something like that. But I think the point is that, you know, sound is a powerful spiritual, vibrational, physiological aspect of life. And we live in a very noisy, cluttered world. And much like I was saying about Dr. Emoto, I think, what is that, you know, we're something like 90% or 80% water, right? And so the water is affected by the vibration. Dr. Emoto showed that. What is happening to the water in our bodies if we're listening to that? You know,
I don't know if it's 90. I think it's in the 70s. But
70%?
But we are largely water. Right now,
70%.
You meet a person, you say, that's a lovely person, but really it's just a bucket of water with some cells, you know, thrown in for good measure. You're absolutely right. If sound has an effect on water, which has been shown in the lab, we are water. What does it do to the water inside? Completely logical. Even our brain is largely water. It's incredible. Water.
You know, for our next interview, because I know we're going to be talking to John Beaulieu, and he's going to be talking about the tuning forks just as we wrap up this week's episode. I'm going to share a video with everyone who's watching anyway next time, and it shows the power of sound vibration on water, and it's a beautiful video. It's fascinating. It's only a few minutes, but I think it would be really interesting for people to experience.
I think it's fantastic. I love it. That's a great idea, Chad. I really like this. And so, I mean, the water, it's clearly we can be tuned. Our nervous system can be tuned. And John Beaulieu, I'm curious to see what he has to say, but humming is so available. It's right there. It's in us. Nobody can take it away from us. It's not even that you bought a singing bowl or a tuning fork. No, it's right in here with you, like breathing through your nose. All those things are very doable. So, I mean, they clearly were having a blast. They talked about some of the resources that, you know, they have. All you guys need to do is look it up. But I think they have a they have a website, Healing Sounds. Healing Sounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like it when we can use the resources, and luckily some of these experts, in fact, most of these experts, make it available in a, it's really good.
Yeah, they're very generous. Well, everyone, we've got to wrap up for this week. Appreciate you joining us and listening and tuning in, right?
There you go.
See, it's in the language. It's in the language. But we'll see you guys next week, and join us as we continue this exploration into the power of sound healing next time with John Beaulieu.
Thanks for joining me today. Click the subscribe button for more video. Got a question or comment? I love questions and comments. Leave yours below. And here's another video you've got to see.